Hi, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Janie, and we are home with the Edwards.
In 2019, we outgrew our house, so we downsized to a home on wheels. We built out our Sprinter van and traveled the country until we decided to buy a property, a home on land. We are Marcus, Janie, Rhea, and Kaya.
If you are joining us for the first time, or if you've been watching along, welcome back, or welcome back. We have been renovating a property in the Ozarks. We bought a couple acres in September, and it was a as-is property, and that meant that it came along with everything that the previous owner had. And so it's been a lot of cleanup on top of trying to figure out how to renovate and what our priorities are. So if you are joining us for the first time, I'd recommend going back to our first video. I think it's called We Bought a Property, part 1 or video 1. I'll link it down below. And so you can just kind of see the progress that we've made. But we haven't done an update for quite a while. I think probably since December. So we just wanted to give you guys an update on what's happening.
And so, like she said, we bought the place in September, and we still haven't moved in yet. So
Yeah.
there's a main house that's on the property that is probably going to need to be brought down. It's in bad shape. And there's a little smaller house on the property that's what we're going to live in. We're going to try to renovate that, but we've got a lot of work to do for that yet still. We have to put a roof on it, and we gutted it, but it still needs a lot of work. So
yeah, so that's an update. I think the last time, our last video, I think we showed that we had pulled everything out as far as it had carpet in there and like OSB walls, plywood walls. So we pulled everything out. It's down to the floor and the studs. Well, and we do still have some insulation. We're debating on what we're going to do there. But we are starting on it. We found a guy to help us. We just felt like it was a little too overwhelming and too much for Marcus and I to do on our own. And so we found a guy that's going to just kind of be our handyman and walk us through it. And then we are struggling finding somebody to put a roof on it. I don't know what it is. The service is a little bit different out here than where we were, or maybe it's just the timing. I don't know, but hopefully I'm gonna go call the roofer again after we make this video, but hopefully that will be happening in the next month or so too.
and then maybe one day we can actually move in.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. So we're still kind of coming up with the plans. I've been using a program called SketchUp. I think SketchUp? I think so. They actually have a free version. I would love to have the paid version that you can do a lot more, but it works for us. And so we're able to lay out what the house is going to look like. And right now we're just really trying to piece out exactly what materials we're going to use. We're trying to do it as like eco-friendly and healthy as possible, but also inexpensive. And then we're also retrofitting it. So it feels a little bit complicated, but we're getting there. And I think we'll do probably a series on that, just on our YouTube channel. We'll do a whole series on the house build itself. So what else, Marcus? What else have we been doing in the last few months?
Well, like you said, a lot of clean up and clean out. Had an auction to get rid of a lot of stuff. Now, as you can see, everything's coming back to life, springtime, and so been doing a lot of work outside. Janie's been planting a lot of seeds and just getting our food put in the ground. And
yeah, and we had some tree guys come over. We've gotten various quotes on what trees need to come down or information. We did get one cut down, just a limb that was like falling off of a big tree, and it was quite a bit. So we've been working on that, stocking our firewood. So our little shed that's behind our carport, we cleared that out. There was like, even in the pictures and the videos of it, it doesn't do justice of how much was in there, because you couldn't even see it. It was like layers after layers after layers. So we got all of that pulled out, we cleaned it up really good, and then we put some shelves in there, and now we're putting all of our firewood. We actually, Marcus found a listing on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, for free wood, and it came with like a nice shelf too, so that was cool. You've been working on,
Bees.
Bees.
Yeah,
Bees.
I went to a workshop, a 2-day workshop, and learned how to take care of bees. So we got some hives, and now I'm just trying to put the swarm catchers up so I can catch bees. And once I catch them, then I'll put them in the hive, and God willing, we'll get some bees and have some honey.
And yeah, I think I'm trying to think of what else we've done. I mean, a lot of it has really been just cleanup, like cleaning. We still have like just trash in various places all over the property. And then a lot of the work, like you can see behind us, I think you can see it in here. Like we just uncovered this was completely taken over by vines. We didn't realize the extent of, we knew that there was like a feature back here, a water feature, but we didn't realize the extent of it. So we still haven't figured out like exactly how the water works, and if it's a pond or if it's a fountain. The shop / barn, we've cleared out that most of it because we were trying to get ready to get animals. I don't know if that's going to happen this year, maybe it's chickens, but it's hard since we're not living here. We're currently living with my parents. They're so gracious to let us stay at their place right now, and so hopefully we'll get this house done in a couple months. I mean, that's the hope. And then it'll be easier once we're here, because we're going back and forth. It's about 20 minutes back and forth to where my parents are. So the shed and barn, or sorry, the barn shop, barn. We've gotten a lot of it cleared out, but it's still a mess in there too. So I think that's about it. Yeah. Okay. So this was completely covered in vines, and we got it uncovered, and we cleaned up the rock here. I still want to come in here with a power hose, and get all this mud out, but got everything trimmed up and ready for it to grow. You can see we do have some like lilies over there blooming, lots of lilies, irises, things like that. And I think we're going to plant down here in this bed. We added compost into here, probably some things that are shade lovers, because I don't think it's going to get too much sun. But this is where we were talking about trying to figure out, I'll show you the back side, but there are all kinds of like hooks or faucets on the back, and that go into here, and it's hard to tell, but you can see there's like little areas. You see behind that frog, there's like a little hole, and there's like one up here, and then there's just like that pipe there. So we're trying to figure out where they come in, and here's this hose hook up here, and I was thinking, okay, did he just have the hose hooked up to it to keep it running? But Marcus suggested that maybe he just used the hose to fill it. And then my dad noticed that this in here, we thought it was just part of the garden bed, but we're gonna pull all that dirt out because we think this is where the pond was, in this area. And so there's probably a pump, or if we get a pump, then we can get a pump in here and have the pond, and then the water would just circulate all the way around in the waterfall, and then it would go down into here and then in here and just circulate. So it's pretty exciting. We just have to figure out how to make it all work. So here's on the back side. I'll show you, since the vines aren't completely taken over, you can see. Hopefully, oops, sorry. There we go. So see, there's all these different pipes and spigots. So pretty cool. Just got to figure out how to make it work now. Things are in bloom here, which is great. Garden beds are all prepped. Pulled off a lot of the leaves that were still weren't decomposed. Added some mushroom compost on all of them. Things are really greening up. Look at this beautiful which I think it's a forsythia, I think. And I'll show you we have a nest right there. There's a bird. I'll show you where I plant, or all of the things that we planted so far. And you can go back and watch my other video on seed starting. I created like a spreadsheet that really helped me know when to start everything and where to start it and keeping track of it all. But right here, this is going to be a lot of flowers in this bed. I did some poppies here. You can see we thinned out. We had so many irises and lilies. I took out probably 1,000 irises. I'm not even kidding you. And there's still so many. But so excited. I have peonies. Peonies are one of my favorite flowers. But we have planted some different things. I'm trying to remember without looking, but I think over here are, what is there? Maybe beets. And over here we have some spinach, and I think, no, maybe those are the beets. I don't remember. But this was completely, we didn't prepare this one this fall. I just did it this spring, but it was completely taken over. And so it's looking good. Everywhere you look, there's still just yard stuff that needs to be taken and put into our piles. You would think that we didn't rake our leaves, but we spent so much time raking. I can't even tell you how many leaves we have raked up, and there's still just leaves everywhere. So this is the other area that I was talking about that we found would be like potentially a pond. But you see all of the yard ornaments, they'll eventually get put back up, but we're just trying to clean everything out. So this one, there's a pipe or a water line, but we're not exactly sure where it goes to, and it actually broke. It's pretty brittle. But here you go. You can see that the water went down into here, and I'm not sure if this was part of the pond. We don't know, because if you go walk over here, this is the area I started digging down into this hole, and there was standing water. Actually, you can still see it's been like a couple weeks, and there's still, I bet if I put a shovel in there, the water would come up. But here's where we started. When I started digging, we found this going around. So we'll eventually get to this, try and keep it clear so it doesn't get taken over by the vines, and so we can work on it. I don't know that much has changed from the last video of the house that we're working on, but I'll show it to you anyway. So yeah, I guess we did pull up some of the floorboards. We were trying to figure out what we're gonna do with the posts. We figured out, we thought that, if you've been following along, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to hear this again, but we thought that there's these posts underneath here. They're all around. That's what the house is sitting on, or like old cut up telephone posts. And you can see that it's coming up through the floorboard. And we thought, oh, he must have just put them in the wrong place and just didn't fix it. So we thought that maybe that post was supposed to be under the joist, because our floor is like sagging in the center. And so we thought it had just settled and it was coming up through the floorboard. But Marcus took this board off over here, because there's another one over there that's coming up, and realized, I don't know if I can get a shot of it or not, and there's like crazy wasps in here right now. Yeah, I don't know, it's probably hard to tell, but that right there, you can see these joists are nailed into the post. So they are actually, I think this is how he meant it to be. So we're gonna come in here and cut down those posts and put some blocks and stuff underneath the house to lift it up, and then we'll get started on everything. So I'm not going to go into too much detail right now in the house. We'll do that in a different video, but this is what we're starting on here shortly. Okay, another garden bed. We changed some plans as far as what we were going to plant where, because we're still not sure where the sun's going to be in the summertime, as far as with all of how much sun is going to show through because of the trees. We have so many trees. But this is the start. This is actually a really cool technique. I'll have Marcus try and do a video. He's been teaching us like survival classes. He has for the last year or so. We haven't done one for a while, but it's a really easy way to set up a teepee. And so I think I'm going to start with something like this and probably add some other sticks for some tomatoes. You can see more peonies coming up over there, and of course the irises, lilies like crazy. This is a mallow plant that was already here. That's great because it is super medicinal. I'm excited about that. And then over here, I think so far, I just have the peas, snap peas, but you can see they're doing really well. Look at them babies. And Marcus is working on the mower. Something on it broke, so he's fixing that today. And this is how it's looking so far over here. We need to fix that eventually. It's getting worse. But I did add a garden bed. There wasn't a garden here, but I'm thinking that it will probably get pretty good sun. So we'll be planting in there. Already have a lot of lilies. We had some sedum that was out in the middle of the yard just randomly, so I uprooted that and I planted a little over there. I've got to figure out where I'm going to put the rest of it. Okay, now I'll show you as far as what we're doing with, we haven't started really composting, but we're starting to get resources and divide our resources. And so I'll show you what we're doing for that. This right here is, it's kind of a mix between a mulch and a compost. So it was wood chips, just plain wood chips that came out of a playground. And so they're pretty decomposed. You can see up here on the top, like a lot of it's pretty decomposed. So this is what we put down in our beds. We got this for free. We just had to go shovel it out from a gal that had picked it up. And so we got that in the fall, and that's what we put on our beds. So right now we just dumped it right here, but I'm going to show you where we're putting all of our resources right now. This has to move. That's been here since we bought the place. But over here, it's our lovely trash pile. We found out that most people just burn like everything here, like not even just wood and non-toxic things, but all the toxic things and everything. It's we would like to not do that. We're hoping to, Marcus and I, to try and start a recycling program for our neighborhood once we get here and try and help, because what the issue is here is there's not even a landfill. The closest landfill is an hour away. And so with a lot of people, like, that's just not realistic for them. I mean, of course you can get a garbage service, but trying to, if you have a lot of junk or a lot of trash that you need to get rid of. And like we you know, when we first moved here, we ordered one of the big containers, and it was so expensive. Like, I'm trying to remember what we paid. We got one in Colorado when we were renovating our house, remodeling it. And I want to say it was so much less. I don't remember, maybe $100 or $200 for it. And this one cost us $600. So we're at this point just creating this trash pile for right now. And it's super lovely and awesome sitting in our yard, but we're just trying to get all of the trash out, and then we'll put it all on our trailer and take it to the dump. Over here right now, a lot of this was already here when we bought the property. So like this pile and these piles, Marcus has been working on burning some of the weeds, but what the plan is here is this will all be mulched. We bought a mulcher specifically so that we can do all of our branches and our leaves. So this is all going to be mulched. And then this right here is what's called leaf mold. I'm not sure, I hadn't heard of that term before. I had to look it up, but it's really cool. It's a form of compost. So it's just your leaves. Let me see if I can. You just take your leaves, and then when they decompose, oh, that one's kind of a fresher. Let me come over here. When they decompose, it just turns into a really rich soil. So this will all be gone to, so everything that's in this area we're moving it all. This will all be mulched. This will lay down probably somewhere where we're gonna decide to do more gardening. Up on top right there, that's awesome. It looks like weeds. There essentially could be weeds, but it's actually nettle. It's very medicinal. So don't throw your weeds away, guys. Look up your weeds before you get rid of them, because a lot of them are medicinal. And then this is our area of weeds that we need to burn down. This area will eventually have like a nice section where we will have like a wooded section to contain some stuff, so you won't see anything that we are going to use for our burn barrel, or in our that we're going to burn. This pile will go away. But where I was going with is our resources. So we cleared out this whole area. These are more branches that need to be mulched. But we cleared out this area, and this is where we're going to what we call our resource center. So these are all leaves that were done this year. Like, I don't know if you guys have any idea how many, I can't even tell you how many leaves that is. Like it was so, that's like what we did all fall. But rather than burning leaves or putting them on the curbside and taking them to the dump, you can create a really rich soil. So this will take quite a while, probably a couple years. If they're broken down, these ones were put through the chipper, and so this will break down a lot faster than these other ones. But it was just too much to try and do all of that in the chipper, and we didn't really need to anyway. This will just sit for a couple of years, and we'll just keep rotating it, you know, so as we use some, then we'll stack new stuff there. This here is our mushroom compost that we got it from, I think it's called J&M Farms in Oklahoma. That's where it's a mushroom farm, and so that's their compost. It works really good on the in the gardens. I've heard great things about it from people out here in the Ozarks. And so we had some leftover from what we were doing. So right now we just put it here. This will eventually be probably where we have our own compost, when we make our own compost. So then we just cleared out all of this area here too. So that way we'll probably do our wood chips over here. So all of this, everything that you see out here is going to be gone. I know that will make Marcus very happy. This is the area that's driving him crazy. So we got to get this all taken care of, and it will be much nicer after that. But Marcus this is our burn barrel. This is his system that he put together, and I know he's going to do a video on it sometime. He's recorded, but he's learned quite a bit from trial and error, and has come up with a pretty good system. Oh man, this section here, this is the vines here, y'all. Like, they're insane, and they haven't even started all the way. This will be completely covered by the summertime. And you can see it's just, I mean, they're just strangling the trees. All these trees in here are just dead. So at this point, we're out here, but no, I don't think it's going to be dangerous, is what I'm saying. It's not a safety hazard. We talked to the tree guy. We're going to leave it this year, and eventually we'll take all of that down and replant. And then out here, Marcus has really gotten this into shape. That's why he's getting the lawnmower fixed right now, so he can come out here and mow it. Oh, and it's so cute, y'all. This is a pear tree, I think. It's a fruit tree. I think it's a pear tree. But my little nephews and nieces, my little niece and nephews figured out that they can climb it, because all the big kids climb all the trees and they're too little, but they can climb this tree, and it is their special tree. And so this is their little area. So that was really cute. And I think Ray was going to make a little garden for them. We'll see if she does that. And this will eventually be pasture, where we decided that we're going to use this as pasture for goats and chickens. And we're going to do rotational grazing. You can watch, I have a video on that one too on our channel. And this whole center section, we were debating on what to do because there are so many trees, but the arborist that came out, or the tree doctor, he came out and kind of gave us some pointers, and he was saying he wonders if Charlie, the previous owner, was maybe doing trying to do an orchard or what, because we were talking about that we should probably take out a lot of these little trees so that, you know, they're not competing with the bigger trees for nutrients. And he suggested that a lot of these trees could actually be dug up and sold because they're in great shape. So I think we're gonna try and do that. I don't know if that'll happen this year or not, but everything is looking good, blooming nicely. What you think, Kaya? Hi, Kaya. Kaya loves it out here. Anytime we tell her we're coming out to Lone Pine, when we're still at my parents' house, she cries and cries until we leave, and she just runs nonstop out here. So over here, it's hard to see. I might try not to step on them. Okay, right there. We planted elderberry bushes, so you can see they're just little guys. There's that one and that one. That one's just like a stick. There was some foliage on that, but I think an animal got to them. But that's okay, because we really want to focus on their roots system and get these really established. So we'll end up eventually pulling those off, so that way this season they can focus on their root development. Where we got them from was from Joy's, oh shoot, I'll put it in here, but I think Joy's farm, or Joy's elderberry. but we got the cutoffs from her, and she told us how to do it. And she said for this season, you know, we want to focus on the roots. And so she's like, it'll make some little flowers, and then we can pull the flowers off and have a cup of tea. So that's what we'll get from them this year. But the following year, we should start seeing some actual elderberry production, so we can harvest that for our needs. Okay, here's the shop in the barn from the south side. So this will go away, this whole lean-to, probably not this year, but the reason being is because, I mean, it would be nice to use, but this is there's a door here, a big barn door, and so we want to make this part of the building a shop, and so we want to have access to be able to back up a truck in there and be able to work and unload and whatnot. But we took off the tarp here, and it looks so much better. I know that he had it there for a purpose, probably to keep the wind and whatever, the weather out, but it feels so much better being opened up. And this here will be our stalls. This will all be for animals. Most of the time the animals, we're going to keep them on the pasture, but you know, in inclement weather and for various reasons, we will keep them over here. So this will all be fenced in. We took down this fence. There was a big like fence there, took that off, but then this will all just be done with like hog wire. Let's see, I'll show you in the shop. Still a giant mess, as you can see. I started sorting through. This is everything that we decided to keep when we moved here. We found pretty much all of this was stuff that we found. Some of it's ours that we had. But now I'm going through everything and trying to organize it because we thought about renovating the shop as one of our first things, but we decided that's not the case. We've changed our plans a lot. Okay, I think I might have showed in other videos, but I'll show you again. Oh, it's really dark, but there's holes. So this whole area here was covered with pallets, like how it is there. And so our assumption is that he did that because there's a den underneath here. So these were holes, and then we couldn't even open this barn door because there was all this dirt, because they had taken all the dirt out and set it on the other side of the wall so you can open it. But I came in here and we filled the holes back up, and here they are again. So there's something still definitely here. So, but I wanted to show you these. These are beautiful, and so I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to put them yet, and if they're going to go in the small house, because there's just not a lot of space in that house. But I'm hoping, and then that kitchen cabinet, it's a metal one, I'm hoping to refinish all those. We will find somewhere for them. We do need to have a little bit of a functional space, so this is my functional space. That's not completely functional, but at least enough to have our tools off the ground, or so that we can find things when we need. And so that's just our system for now. And I know that sign raised like, Mom, what are we gonna do with that? I'm like, I don't know, but I think it's cool. I'm gonna paint it, and I don't know, put it somewhere. Maybe for the littles land. I don't know. This is the shed. I'm showing you this because this was completely packed. It still is over here. We need to go through that. And we didn't sell any of the stuff here. It's all lumber, because we thought, you know, there's probably some good stuff in there. And in here, it's a little bit messy because we started throwing our trash in here just to have somewhere to put it. But this was completely full, so that got cleared out from the auction, and then also just from cleaning it out afterwards. We're not sure what we're going to do with this building. Originally, we were going to do a chicken coop, but the more we learn, the more we realize we want them to free range, so we'll probably do a chicken tractor. Well, I mean, we were going to have them free range before, but we're going to have them be on the pasture pretty much all the time in a chicken tractor and just rotate them. So now we're going to do something with that building. I don't know what kind of shape it. I mean, obviously the outside, you can see it looks kind of shabby, but I'm like, maybe that will be like could be a cute little guest house or something. I don't know. It's not a lot to show you in here. This is just our garden shed. We started getting it pretty cleaned out, but now it needs organization. I'm gonna get some hooks and hang them on that wall to hang everything up off the ground. hang the wheelbarrow over here. Need to figure out a shelving unit for all of the gas. We have this awesome, I don't know what you call it, cart that I'm not sure where we're gonna put it, but we're keeping that for sure. It's awesome. And then this area over here will be like a prepping area and a harvesting area. Can't use it as a sunroom because it doesn't get enough light, but I just think the space is too cute not to do something awesome with it. So this might be where I do seed starting and clean up plants. I'm not sure, but something. Oh yeah, this area over here. This was a giant mess. People that have come over recently are like, was that here before? Because you just really couldn't notice all these grasses. I cut those back and they're coming back in. But we just cleaned all of this. My niece Hannah and I did that, and then she helped me clean up that area by that tree that was all full of stuff. And then we found in here, it's a little bit wet. I don't know if I want to walk through there, but right in here, we were just like cleaning things out, and she found a few nails. Well, then she just kept pulling nails out all through here. So we got the magnet, one of those magnets, and she would put it down there, and it was just like, it was just full of nails. I mean, and it still is. You can still see, like, there's just so many nails. So my guess is that he was, whatever he was burning, I mean, obviously you can see the, well, I shouldn't say obviously, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a lot of coals there. So my guess is that he was burning pallets, and then he would take the ashes and dump them there with the nails and everything. But oh, everything's getting so pretty. This is nice and cleaned out now. Got to see everywhere we look, there's just stuff. So it's like there's piles of wood here, there's piles of wood there. It's just a lot. Oh, I almost forgot this. We did this as well. This was a wraparound porch and deck, and we really loved it. It was super, super cute, but the deck was failing. It was starting to sink and slant in. And so when my parents were out here in December, before they moved out here, they were just visiting, my dad and mom came over for a half a day, and they helped us they were like, let's just get to work, let's do it. So dad took off all of the metal paneling on the ceiling, and my mom took out the deck. There's the base of the deck there. And so at this point we just have this temporary post there, and come to find out we're probably gonna have to take the whole thing down because this is put into the siding, the metal siding, and that's all going to be replaced. So unfortunately, we're probably gonna have to take that down, but we will put it back up is the plan. And we're thinking about doing like a sunroom greenhouse in this area, but I just need to see how the sun is a little bit more in the summer with all of these trees filled out, because we don't want to bake. And so if the sun, I mean, this is facing south, which is good. That means that we'll have that full sunlight all day long. And we're trying to do our house as passive solar as possible. And I'll do a video specifically on that to kind of talk on that. But we'll open this up, these doors and the windows, we'll put more windows in. And so that way we'll get the light and the heat in the winter time. And in the summertime, hopefully with this overhang, it will be shady enough to where we're not gonna bake in there. But I just wanna make sure that we don't end up doing that and then it gets too hot in the summer and ends up making the house really hot. So there's that. And let's walk around here. So at this point, we're also trying to divide up other resources back here. We're gonna have to pull these all of this away from the house, but as we walk around, we're finding a lot of different bricks and cinder blocks. And then of course we have the pallets. We got rid of, it still looks like a ton, but we got rid of probably 3/4 of them, 3/4 of them. Either somebody came and picks them up, and then now we're burning a lot of them because they're actually in bad shape. So yeah, we'll start dividing our resources here so we can see what we have to work with. And that was a bookshelf that we pulled out of the house. That's going to go into the wood shed to hold wood. As you can see, it's still pretty messy back here. This is the carport that will eventually be something different, most likely an outdoor kitchen. Right now it's just our hangout when we come over here, sit in here if we need to. This is the wood pile. This was already here, so we need to chop these apart, and we're going to move all of this, and this will all be cleared out. This is going to be a garage. We're actually going to make a garage in here, and then our laundry room is in there, and our well room. Probably do a water catchment system in there one day. And still getting this all cleaned out, but here's the wood shed, and it was nuts before. Even the pictures and videos don't do justice because we just kept pulling stuff out layer after layer after layer. There was so much in here. But Marcus took all of the good pallets that we have and put them under here to keep them out of the weather. And there's some stuff that just needs to go away. But so here's what's going on with our wood shed, which is very satisfying. Which this was the one that we got for free, which is great, that stand and all that wood. And then here's all the wood that Marcus cut, and he came up with a good system. We're getting a tiny stove in our tiny house, and so we called the company that we were getting it from, and they said the longest wood can be is 10 inches. So Marcus just made this little jig, and as he's cutting, so I guess it's 10 inches from here to here. So as he's cutting the branches, he just sets it in there and cuts it, so that way it's all measured to the size that it needs to be. And that's where over here, and this is the backyard of the big house. Apparently there's some kind of pond or water fountain over here too, but we haven't even ventured into looking there. But there's our tree, big giant tree, and we had a branch that was sticking out right there, and so they cut it down, and now that's what Marcus is working on, getting that all cut. And little food for thought, or just information, we had the arborist, the tree guy, come by, and he's not actually the one that did this tree. That's a long story. We were going to hire another guy, and then we met the guy that was really informational, and the first guy, we told him we wanted to cancel. He never got back to us, and he just showed up at our house and cut this branch down, and we still had to pay him. It was kind of shady, but oh well, it is what it is. But this is actually the wrong way to do it. The other guy told us, he's like, you really want to cut it off as close to the tree as possible when you take your branches. You don't want to just cut branches randomly or just like lob them off like how this one is. See how it's, well, let me see you guys. Okay, like that one there, it's just, you want to cut it as close to the tree or as close to the other branch as possible, so that way the tree will heal itself. So you can see here how this one, there was probably a big branch, and it's just the bark has grown over it, and it's healed that wound, so to speak, and it will make sure that the tree is healthier. Because if you don't do that, then what that does is these branches can die back, and then it just starts to die. Everything within it can start to die and be killed. So I'm not a tree person. That's just what the arborist was telling me. I think I'm saying the right word, right? Arborist? I think that's a tree person. That's just what he told us. So just some information. Look at this, you guys. I love this. Love-hate relationship with vines, but isn't that so pretty? Just that white washwood and the vines climbing up. I love it. So pretty. There's not really a lot to show you in the big house, other than it's all storage. We got those. I'm gonna clean those out. We're going to store food in there. That's the plan. And here are the bee boxes and this swarm catcher. And just, this is all of our stuff. And in here, there's nothing new. It's still just how it was before, but kind of messy. We do need to clean up. I want to clean up this kitchen and our bathroom at least, and just so that we can continue using this for the time being. The only thing I could think of that I want to show in here is, because maybe some of you guys watching this will have pointers. If we end up tearing this down, I would like to use as much as we can from here. So, I mean, we have like all of the siding, like the crown molding. So I'd like to pull all of that out, and potentially the floors, although they're pretty, it's so humid underneath that we would have to dry these out and refinish them, so we won't use them right away. But we're probably going to do plaster in our house, earthen plaster or lime plaster. And so these are, this is old plaster, like probably gypsum plaster, but then they have the lath behind it. And I would like to take this lath out and reuse it. But I'm concerned that this is lead paint on it, which I don't want to mess with. And I know I can get a lead kit. I should probably do that just to test it. But then my guess is if it is lead paint, the removal of it, hiring somebody to do that professionally would be really expensive and too dangerous to do by ourselves. So I don't know what we're gonna do in here, but if anybody has any suggestions with us being able to pull some of this lath out to be able to reuse it, I'd be up for hearing that. Well, thanks for joining us today. I hope all of you are well and that you're enjoying the start of spring wherever you are. I know that's cold for some of you and probably really hot for some of you. It's just fun documenting our journey, and we're glad that you're here for us and here for it, and we appreciate you. So appreciate all the comments and just people reaching out. It's very encouraging, and we hope you are well.
Thank you.